Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only Dawg Knight.
So, I know I have the wrong thumbnail up here. Here it is. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I also didn't finish my breakfast. I'm chewing still. Anyway, let's fix the thumbnail first. There we go. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet, and I have a mouthful of food. But that's okay, because gotta eat, right? Get home late, gotta make me a quick breakfast, and start my morning right. By the way, today I'm going to the cup of the day is the Buppa cup. That says Buppa, if you can see that. That's my granddaughter's name for me. The first grandchild in our family traditionally gives the grandparents their names, and mine turned out to be Buppa. So this is the Buppa cup. Thank you to my granddaughter. Although it only says it on one side, but that's okay. I don't mind. Usually, any other time of the day, I'd be drinking with my right hand. Anyway, hi, how you doing? Happy Wednesday, hump day. We're on the Morning Night Live. It's the 14th of August, 2024. Breakfast is for fat people. That's funny, AD. And we got a lot of things to catch up on, but the funniest joke I've ever heard, first time I've ever heard Stephen Colbert be funny was, well, I guess that's not true. He's occasionally humorous, maybe, but this actually was funny. So funny that even his audience laughed, like for real, without the applause sign or the laugh sign up on the board. So anyway, we'll get to that. That's just one funny story, and the rest is just news. You know, we got tons of news that we'll get to. Why are these all like this? That's weird. Oh, is that Human Events? No, it's Breitbart. Why didn't the Breitbart thing come up? The New York Post? That was not coming up. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about, and I'm glad you're here. Let's say hi to everybody and get it started. First in chat over on YouTube, which is the only place I'm streaming right now. That'd be Avocados Diablo, who gets the bell. Congratulations. Congratulations for your Johnny on the spot. Also, good morning, GunFox61, our great administrator of the Discord server for the Dawg Knight Channel. And good morning, Jonathan Peterson, here live. Nice to have you here. Black Hebrew Israelite. Hey, that's right. Man, that's a face I don't see that often. Well, I don't see your face, but I see your Avi, and I'm glad to have you here. Also, good morning, Rick Ashbringer, Tyler F., Attack Alpaca, and Green Badger Outdoors. Where the hell is everybody? What the hell's going on here? Where? Okay. Maybe my notifications are going out. I don't know. YouTube doesn't really jive with me that well. So I guess that's just the danger of having wrong opinions. So anyway, so we'll just get into some trending stuff, and then we'll get into a couple news items, and then we'll do our thing. In fact, Gunfox gave me a couple things here that we're going to do right after we go through trending topics. A couple MSNBC opinions that he wants me to have an aneurysm over, which, you know, I'll try not to have an aneurysm because that would suck. I guess I got to find Ace though, because it's right there, because I don't have. Well, here, I got to do this real quick because I didn't do this yet either. So let's make that work. And there we go. Okay, good. All right. That is everybody who's here. I'm trying to figure out why that is. Usually, people trickle in. If you just got here and I haven't said hi to you, say hi in the chat, and then I'll know that you are here. That would be greatly appreciated. All right. First up on deck, it is. Oh, by the way, quick thank yous to Somnambule Nation, of course, and Green Badger Outdoors, and that's it. That's everyone who shared the show. So please share the stream. Or repost my version of sharing the stream, and I'd appreciate that too. Let people know we're here. Good morning, Sound Humble Nation. I already thanked you, but maybe you weren't here when I said thank you. So anyway, oh goodness, thank you, Green Badger Outdoors. By the way, during this election season, I want to remind you, whenever Democrats, establishment hacks, or administrative statists use the word democracy, like as in Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, make sure you substitute these words. Our people in power. That's very important. Oh, now some people are showing up. Good morning, Resolute Germ, Johnny Hellcat, the original viewer of the Morning Night Live, and Vader35, a new name that I have not seen before. Jackals Freudstein's back. It's been a while. At least I think it's been a while. I don't know if you've been here recently or not. Glad to have you. Nice to see some faces that aren't here as often as usual. All right, let's get into what's happening. It is Hump Day, and every Wednesday we go to the Hump Day, trending topic on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, and we scroll down to see how many posts, tweets, whatever it takes to come across some body parts, but I won't put them on the screen. But I'm always curious because it used to be just all body parts, and I mean, the naughty bits. And but they've kind of X has kind of nipped that in the bud a little bit. Good morning, Shrapnel. What's up? And so it looks like I'm scrolling down. Well, now those are body parts, but at least hers are covered. Okay, for example, let me give you an example. So a lot of times you see stuff like this. Okay. Now, at least, but hers are covered. She's not showing a naughty bitch. They aren't touching any other naughty bits, and they're not, doing all that stuff. So that's okay for Happy Hump Day. Okay, so that's a Happy Hump Day example. And as I scroll down, it's a while. Oh, well, that's interesting. That's weird. She's looking at lollipoppers. Oh, there we go. There we go. Some people doing the deed, and I can't put it on the screen. So there you go. But the top Hump Day post today is of Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and I'll show you that right now. Here we go on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. Now I could get in trouble if I actually play the music, so I'm not going to. I'm going to mute the music on this. It's basically these guys, they're dancing to Staying Alive, and I didn't know that Donald Trump and Elon Musk were so fleet of foot. Check this out. This is Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and it's pretty amazing. Here, let's go. Do I need full screen for that? I don't even think I need to go full screen for that. Here we go. And I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm gonna mute the music. I mean, look at this. What are they dancing to? Oh, what is it? And you can tell by the way I use my walk and my woman's man. No time to talk. You didn't love me, didn't know, didn't need you around since I was 1 year old. And you say, shouldn't say the other way. You ain't try to understand. And it's not to hate nothing. I was just staying alive, staying alive. Who is singing? Everybody singing, we're staying alive, staying alive. Ha, 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 staying alive, staying alive. Ha, 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 staying alive. Now, I don't know what's worse. Now, this is great. Some great AI. I know these guys that, these guys are the actual people in this are a couple guys who are on TikTok and shorts and all that stuff. Vic's somebody, and they're a couple really good dancer guys, make a lot of dance videos. But anyway, I think that's like the best AI version I've seen of this. There's been other ones out where they just put the head, the floating head on. Whoops. They put the floating head of somebody on there, and it's not as good. This one is a really good AI there. So there you go. If you do CPR to the beat of Staying Alive, you'll be in the perfect rhythm. Oh, well, I had no idea. No, Lord, stand up. Don't go back to sleep. You got to stay up, because this is some scintillating stuff that I'm putting out here. So anyway, that was Hump Day. Also, the Social Security Act today is the anniversary of the day that Franklin D. Roosevelt signed into law the Social Security Act, August 14th, 1935. Yes, we are celebrating the great American Ponzi scheme. And if you knew how Social Security actually worked, you would understand why I'm saying that. The Social Security has never been one of those things where, oh, they put some money in a lockbox and they give it to you later. Hello, Nomad, by the way.
That's right. Stop. Hammer time.
And Bonehead Dumbasses in the house. Nice to see you. This is the Great America. It's never been like, okay, you're paying in and they put this in this fund that is there for you when you get back or invest or anything. Social Security literally is a Ponzi scheme. By definition, the way they do it, it's like people pay into it to pay for people who are getting the benefits now. And then the people who work behind you, they'll pay into it when it's your turn to get benefits. And the reason it worked for so long is because the population of the United States kept growing and growing. And each generation was getting bigger. Well, unfortunately for us who are, let's say the boomer generation, who was one of the biggest generations, who was all retiring now, well, guess what? The generations behind us, while the population is still growing, the number of people in each generation is not as many. There's not as many people working to cover the people who are taking the benefits. So, as how a Ponzi scheme works is when they the people who start out in the Ponzi scheme collect a lot of money and they kind of dole out the dividends, right? But that's because they keep getting more people to put in money. And so they can still keep some of the money. So really, it just goes into the treasury, and then they start doling out money to us who retired. Now, if they would ever require there to be some kind of a lockbox, then we know it would still be solvent. But it's supposedly supposed to be insolvent. I think by 2040. I mean, it's going to be a negative unless they keep taxing people more. So we don't know. The idea that they're going to save Social Security by just not doing anything. So, for example, a lot of government officials love to use Social Security as a cudgel for politicians because the old people, especially people on Social Security, are really highly likely to vote, and young people are told to believe that all that money that they're putting into Social Security is going to be there when they retire. And it just doesn't seem to be the case. So, hello, Zed the Snarky, by the way. And Maddie's in the house. How you doing, Maddie? So, politicians like Sherrod Brown, senator from wherever the hell he's from. Is he from Connecticut? Where's he from? Ohio. No, he's Ohio. He's out here saying, on this day in 1935, President Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act. I'm committed to protecting Social Security and ensuring Ohioans have the benefits they've earned. No, it's interesting because, yes, you've earned it, but they've been taking away from you your entire life. So, yeah, you earned it, and then the government took it and paid somebody else, and then they're hoping that there's more people working so that when they take it from them, they'll be able to pay you. It really is a vicious cycle, but, I don't know, and I don't know the solution to it. The government can always keep printing more money, which they've been doing for everything else. But then the money they give you is just not as worth as much. So anyway, a lot of people celebrating August 14th. Oh, this is funny. Now, this is clearly a parody account. Mall of America, M-A-U-L. On August 14, 1935, Theodore Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act into law. No, that would be Franklin Roosevelt. Here we go. Why is it that you rob banks? It's where the money is. Why is it that you want to privatize Social Security? It's where the money is. Well, those people who are complaining that someone might want to privatize your retirement accounts or retirement funds, they do realize that the government is basically just taking your money too and spending it on whatever they want. It's funny, but anyway, so that's trending today. Social Security Act. Moving on. Saint Maximilian Kolbe is the saint of the day. If you are Catholic, I am not Catholic. Today, the church remembers Saint Maximilian Kolbe, priest and martyr. Pray for us. I guess let's see. Let me see if we can find out who this dude is. experienced the prayer of the addicted to St. Maximilian Kolbe. Oh, he's the patron saint of drug addicts, or just addicts in general. Here's a brief history. This powerful Catholic prayer, accompanied by the beautiful sounds of Gregorian chant, seeks St. Maximilian's intercession for those struggling with addiction. Join us in this sacred devotion. Well, you know, that's a good saint to have, I guess. Here we go. St. Maximilian Kolbe, born in Raymond Kolbe, January 8, 1894, in the small village of Zduńska Wola, Poland, is revered.
His early life.
Oh, I want to read it. Stop. Shut up. Wait, stop. Shut up. I want to read it. Bitch. Something Catholic Church known for his heroic act of self-sacrificing during World War II. His early life was deeply influenced by his devout Catholic parents, Julius and Maria Kolbe, who instilled in him a strong faith and devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary. So he's Catholic. Hello, Willie won't go home. At a young age, Raymond experienced a vision of Virgin Mary. He was probably on an acid trip, in which she offered him 2 crowns, one white, symbolizing purity, and one red, symbolizing martyrdom. He accepted both, setting the course. Oh, this is 6 minutes long. I'm not reading this shit. If you want to read it, it's in the links. I'm done. I can't read. That's 6 minutes long of that woman talking about the patron saint of addiction. So, but you know what? If you're Catholic and that kind of shit helps you, more power to you. All right, moving on. Core CPI is out today. As we mentioned yesterday, we had the PPI numbers, which were still near, well, whatever they were. They were lower than expected, but still generally, well, not historically high, but higher than it was before. So today we get these core CPI numbers, which is the Consumer Price Index, which July U.S. CPI annual inflation rises 2.9%, but below expectations of 3.0%. Core CPI inflation increased 3.2% year to year, matching forecasts for a gain of 3.2%. So as expected, prices are 3.2% higher than last year. So the total aggregate during the Biden administration is about 18, 19%, maybe 20 or so. So some people here are saying, are you ready for some CPI action tomorrow? Well, that was yesterday. I don't need that. Let's see. For perspective, here are the last 20 years of core CPI data. I added the green line, still at a 20-year high. So there's 20 years of CPI. Yeah, this is the Biden era, you know, still higher than whatever. Let's see. July, U.S. CPI and inflation rate rise 2.9, below expectation of 3.0%. So people like the Krasensteins are probably just wetting their pants in joy over this, because it's slightly lower than they expected. And then they're going to say, oh, yes, we know. Well, we got the Biden inflation down, got the inflation down. Well, no, it's still up around 3% year to year and historically high. But you know what? It has the inflation rate has lowered. Prices haven't, but the inflation rate has lowered. So there you go. All right, enough about that. Moving on, consumer price index is also trending. I didn't put any of that on the screen, did I? All right, so anyway, let's see if let's see how some different media outlets treat this though. So first we're going to go to this guy at CNBC. Let's see how he goes here. This is only a minute long, so we can do this.
Right now, for the July Consumer Price Index, headline number coming in as expected, up 0.2%. Up 0.2% on headline number.
In July, that's just month to month, I believe. And then they'll go year to year.
Follows yet unrevised down 0.1. So we went from basically the weakest, the biggest negative month-over-month change, a positive in CPI since COVID for 2020, and now we're at a level that we haven't seen really since April, when we were up at 0.3. If you look at ex-food and energy, exactly as expected as well, up 0.2. The issue is, of course, it's following 0.1, which, just like the last number, was comping towards the first several months of COVID. Now, if we look at the year-over-year numbers, and I think these are always important, we're making some progress. 2.9% on year-over-year CPI. We're expecting 3%. In the rearview mirror was 3%. 3% was the best, the lowest CPI year-over-year rate going back to March of 2021.
What was March of 2021? What was March of 2021? Let me think about that. Oh, that was the first year of the Biden administration. Well, there you go. Now, again, inflation was an issue all over the world. And certainly people say, oh, you cannot blame Joe Biden for inflation. Well, you kind of can in some ways. For example, energy is one of the biggest drivers of inflation, right? It has to be because, it has to be. And Biden did things in his first year in office that really, really, really drove up the price of energy, particularly fuels that make electricity and drive your cars. Restricting some of the oil supply, changing some, closing, the XL pipeline. And then what's funny about that, not funny, but interesting, is they re-upped the Nord Stream pipeline over in Europe, and then they went and blew up the Nord Stream pipeline over in Europe. So that didn't help things over there. And so, yes, inflation. Look, what's the first thing that you need to do to make anything? Well, you got to have some energy to do it, whether it be driving your trucks or getting some electricity or whatever. So I think that was a big driver of inflation, and it's leveled out some because we have increased production here. But I think that's kind of the beginning. And if you can't blame him for inflation, Advocate Established says you cannot give him credit for it coming down. Correct. So, and I'll tell you what, they definitely want to give him credit for it coming down. So we can. Yes.
So this is indeed
certainly
good
we can blame him. Oh, shut up! I just want this to go away. Here, hit the escape button. So anyway, Septus Wolf's in the house. Nice to see you back, my friend. Welcome. All right. Moving on. Home Depot is trending, and I haven't figured out why. All I know is it's trending. And so as I scrolled through this first, I thought, well, this kid brought flowers to his favorite Home Depot employee. That's not why. This person, this is a kid going around Home Depot asking people Trump or Kamala. But, they can always, if you make one of these videos, you can always choose which people are in your video. It's not like you take a video and if 10 people say Kamala and 20 people say Trump, you can only show the Trump people if you want, or you can show only the Kamala people. So these are dumb. So that didn't do it. Then I was like, this dude is locked in and committed, probably the best employee in TV. Oh, this is why Home Depot is trending. This young lady named Alex K has a question. She says, I stopped right next to you at Home Depot, and what would you do? What do you do? Okay, well, let me think here. Alex, I would ask, what color is that dress? Because it would look good in my, granddaughter's bedroom. Not the dress, the color. Because you need to go away with your plan. Oh, wait. I know. I was looking for some silicone caulk. Can I borrow some? Oh, no. That's nasty. What would I do? I would ask, what is that smell? You smell like a barnyard. Oh, no, that's not it. I don't know. Why? What is the purpose of this video, young lady? Just so you can show your fakeness? All right, that wasn't the reason. Oh, I know what it was. As I scroll down, let's see. Because the CEO of Home Depot said he supports Donald Trump. And so a lot of people are hating on Home Depot. And right now, there's another one. What would you do if I saw you at Home Depot? I would figure out what happened to the sun. Anyway, where is it? Here is Reuters says Home Depot warned of decline in annual profit and bigger drop in its annual comparable sales as weak discretionary spending dampened expectations of a recovery in a consumer sentiment this year. Now, some people are saying, nah, this person named Lady Reverb with the Palestinian flag and a watermelon in her whatever, says, nah, there's other reasons. One, Home Depot owner is MAGA. They no longer hire good people who know what they're talking about. There's Lowe's and Ace Hardware instead. My husband and I run a contracting business. We no longer choose to spend our clients' hard-earned money here. Well, nobody gives a shit what you think, lady. A lot retail, the way retail places go often goes the economy. So it's not just because he's MAGA and all those people thought, oh my God, he's MAGA and I'm not going to shop there. Most consumers don't shop that way. So no, there's no great boycott of Home Depot. So anyway, it's trending. Now, let's move on to Tim Walz because this is a Grok related topic. Tim Walz faces scrutiny for his military service claims. And something that is interesting that Tim Walz and the Harris team are doing right now, and most of their surrogates, they are saying that people are criticizing Tim Walz's military service. And I don't believe that is accurate. So anyway, now here's how Tim Walz is responding to some of that criticism. And look, no one's criticizing his military service. You know, the fact that he joined the National Guard and he was, part of the National Guard for 24 years, that is absolutely admirable, right? What people are criticizing is that you embellished your military service. For what reason? Who knows? Because if you'd have said I was in the National Guard for 24 years, everyone would have respected that. But for some reason, you felt at the end of your career that you needed to embellish certain things in your military career. And sometimes the purpose of it was to give you an extra gravitas or to make you look like you were more than you were in order to take people's rights away. And the reason I say that is because he was talking about, you don't need to have weapons of war that I used in war or weapons I used in war, which you were never in a war, Tim. And you've used that line more than once. It wasn't just a slip of the tongue one time. And even with your rank, why, just so you could say that you were the highest rank, not NCO, which is non-commissioned officer, ever to serve in Congress, using a rank that you did not retire with. And so, look, that is a unforced error, Tim Walz, by continuing to tell that lie, I would say, even though you, in some ways, you could say, well, technically it was true because I was a command, whatever the rank is, command sergeant major, right? Which, yes, technically you would have been a command sergeant major had you finished the training and not opted out of the military when you did. You signed up to do this command sergeant major with a 2-year commitment, but you then, when you found out you would be deployed, which it is the fact that you knew your unit would be deployed before you decided to retire, and you did not complete the requirements to retire as a command sergeant major. Thus, you were busted down back to an E8, which is a level of service for those who don't know in the military. So you did not retire as an E9, you retired as an E8, and yet throughout your congressional career, you made the statement that you retired as an E9. You did not. You've always known that. It's not like they hid it from you. Oh, well, I retired and I thought I was an E9, but they never told me that they busted me down to an E8. Okay? Now, had you never told those lies, there would be no issue right now. There would be no issue right now. Everyone would be saying, you know what? Great guy, served in the military 24 years. He made it to this level, and it was a good thing. But no, you for years have been telling that lie. And then you tried to use it to as an argument, as a politically expedient argument to take away some people's personal property, aka their guns. That's why you're being criticized. Now, here's how Tim Walz responded in a recent speech, and a lot of people are posting this. In fact, Kamala HQ had posted this. Here's Tim Walz talking about the criticism he is getting, and listen to him carefully because he is lying here. He knows he's lying. Okay, and I'll explain why.
And by the way, these guys are even attacking me for my record of service. And I just want
They're attacking me for my record of service. Do tell.
to say, I'm proud to serve my country, and I always will be.
Okay. No, they're not criticizing or attacking your record of service. They're pointing out the fact that you've told, it might be little white lies to you, might be little white lies to most civilians, but military people take this very seriously. And they have a term for it, which is stolen valor. And look, again, this embellishing on your career was never necessary. Hello, Dom O'Leary. Hey, guys, can't stay sleep time. Have a great one. Well, have a great one to you, too, Dom O'Leary. I appreciate you dropping in. This was something that was never necessary, and you had to know eventually this would come back to haunt you. Let's hear the rest of this.
With my dad's encouragement, a guy who served in the Army during the Korean War.
Okay. What does your dad's service have to do with you embellishing your own service?
I signed up for the Army National Guard 2 days after my 17th birthday.
Completely admirable.
I served for the next 24 years for the same reason all my brothers and sisters in uniform do.
Completely
we
admirable.
love this country. Then in 2005, I felt the call of duty again. This time of being service to my country in the halls of Congress.
So there's several people in the National Guard in the halls of Congress. Again, you're not addressing the actual issue.
My students inspired me to run for that
Great,
office.
and that's great. Oh, what a great story. This is a fantastic story. It is admirable that you joined the National Guard, that your students asked you to run for Congress, you ran for Congress, whatever. Great story. You're not addressing the real issue.
And I was proud to make it to Washington. I was a member of the Veterans Affairs Committee.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Of our men and women in uniform.
Fantastic. And yet, for some reason, you've allowed this little lie to metastasize over the years, and you're not addressing it.
I'm going to say it again as clearly as I can. I am damn proud of my service to this country.
And we are proud of your service to this country. Your actual service that you didn't need to embellish. And you embellished it for political gain when it was unnecessary. That's the problem.
And I firmly believe you should never denigrate another person's service record.
And nobody's denigrating your service record. Not a single person is denigrating your actual service record. But they are calling you on the part that is not your actual service record, which you have hinted at, embellished, and let go for all these years.
To anyone brave enough to put on that uniform for our great country, including my opponent, I just have a few simple words. Thank you for your service and sacrifice.
And thank you for your service and sacrifice. And maybe you could clear it up by saying, you know what? You're right. I never should have. I I was gonna say, I never should have made it, hinted at that I did this or that. He literally said it. It's not that he even implied that he was these things. He said he was something he didn't do. And again, I'm going to say this over and over and over. It was never necessary. It didn't enhance any argument you ever made. And in fact, all it did was make it so easy to say, why would you lie about this when your service is admirable the way it actually was? If you'd have said, yes, I would have been a command sergeant major. I started the program, but then I decided to retire. So I retired as an E8 instead. Nobody would have blinked a freaking eye about it. But again, you just let it sit out there for years and years and years, and finally it's coming back to haunt you. So, it's comical in some ways that he's lying now, claiming that people are denigrating his service. So, and here's something, as J.D. Vance put out there right after people started posting this. Hi, Tim. I thank you for your service. But you shouldn't have lied about it. You shouldn't have said you went to war when you didn't, nor should you have said that you didn't know your unit was going to Iraq. Happy to discuss this more in a debate, which I'm sure it'll come up. He's not denigrating your actual service. Just the fact that you lied about part of it. And so it should be simple open and close case, but now he's claiming that people are attacking his service. Nobody's attacking your service. They're attacking what wasn't your service. Hope we cleared that up. Moving on, Howard University is trending. Apparently, Kamala Harris went to Howard University, I guess. Here's a report from Peter Ducey. I don't know what this is. Peter Ducey reveals that Vice President Kamala Harris ditched her press pool to avoid speaking to the media. Here it is. Vice President is supposed to travel everywhere she goes with a press pool. We just learned that she left her press pool behind to attend an event at Howard University. She really does not want to speak to the American people without a teleprompter. So she went to an event at Howard, which is her alma mater, a HBCU, historically black college/university. And apparently she ditched her press detail.
And something new tonight. As the presumptive nominee, Vice President Harris is supposed to travel everywhere she goes with a protective press pool. We just learned that she left her press pool behind to attend an event at Howard University yesterday. We've reached out to her office. We are awaiting an answer back from them as to why she didn't want a small group of reporters documenting her trip across town. Brett?
Peter Ducey, live on the North.
Okay, so that's that. I don't know what event she was going to at Howard. But lots of people were waiting to see her at Howard, which is no surprise. I mean, there's a big line to see her at Howard University. She went to school there. She's the vice president or a presidential candidate. So pretty cool. Let's see, anything else about that? I guess no. So there you go. That's that. Moving on. Kwanzaa. Oh, Kwanzaa's trending too. Now, I still laugh about this thing about Kamala Harris celebrating Kwanzaa. And I've mentioned this many times because of this video she put out during the holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone. I wanted to take a moment to send my warmest wishes to everyone celebrating Kwanzaa. Like so many other holidays, we will be celebrating Kwanzaa a little differently this season in our home. We'll be doing it over Zoom.
Because this is something you've been celebrating your whole life, right?
Sister and I, we grew up celebrating Kwanzaa.
Where? Okay, so here's the thing. The reason I always trash her on this thing, because as a black American who has slave ancestry in my adopted family, and knows a little bit about African American holidays. I was born the same year as Kamala Harris, 1964. Kwanzaa wasn't even created. Wasn't even a holiday. Didn't even come up at all until 1966. A gentleman at who's eventually went to prison, but made up the holiday in 1966 at Long Beach State University. Now, Kamala and her family, before her parents separated, was living in San Francisco. So the holiday that was created in Long Beach really hadn't gone anywhere yet. I mean, this is a professor who made this up. And she's saying that she and her sister celebrated as a child. Well, wait a minute. And also, here's the other part. It is an almost exclusively African American holiday. Now, it has the different symbolism behind it goes back to Africa, but it's not an African holiday at all. It's an African American holiday. Her parents, her father, Jamaican Irish, whatever, with certainly some African ancestry, but Jamaican Irish, not African American. Her mother, from India, call center, not casino, India. Why would they celebrate an African American holiday when Kamala and her sister were children growing up? Particularly the fact that Kamala and her sister, after her parents separated, was raised just outside of Montreal, Canada, where certainly nobody in Montreal, Canada was celebrating Kwanzaa, an African American holiday. This makes no damn sense. Her dad was Irish and Indian, no African ancestry. I'm not so sure about that. I know that that's what, what's the guy? Judge Joe Brown says. I'm not 100% sure about that. It could be African, Irish, and Indian ancestry. I don't know. But in any case, certainly not African American. This holiday is an African American holiday that a guy made up in 1966, and really, most Americans never even heard of it. At least now, again, in my family, my mother started celebrating Kwanzaa in the late 90s, and I never understood why, because we had never celebrated as a kid, because we barely knew about it. But I mean, you didn't really hear about Kwanzaa much until probably the 1980s, late 80s, early 90s. And it was just not one of those things. Even though it celebrates some African principles, it's not an African holiday. Nobody knew about it. So I don't know how she would have known about it, and that particularly her parents, because again, she was born in 1966. The holiday was invented in 1966. She was living she basically grew up in Montreal, Canada. So there's no way that she was celebrating this and talking and bringing around the elders and stuff when she was a child, which she is implying here. Anyway.
Every year, our family in our extended family, we would gather around across multiple generations.
Wait, and again, our family would gather around across multiple generations. How did they do that? Did you fly them in from Jamaica and India? What do you mean across multiple generations? Your grandparents were in Jamaica and India. How were you gathering around? Gathering around where?
And we tell stories. The kids would sit on the carpet and the elders would sit in chairs. And
the elders, where were the elders coming from? Where were these multi-generation of elders coming from? What?
And we would light the candles and, of course, afterwards have a beautiful meal.
What was the meal?
course, there was always the discussion of the 7 principles.
Always the discussion of the 7 principles. So that's what they did, huh? Did they really? And again, where did these multiple generations come from? Again, you would have to fly family in from India and Jamaica because that's where your grandparents were. How did multiple generations get together and discuss the 7 principles? Did you do a Zoom call back in the 80s or 70s, whatever? Oh, wait, there's no such thing as a Zoom call. Where did they sit around?
And my favorite, I have to tell you, was always the one about self-determination, Kuji Chakalia. And,
awesome.
Essentially it's about be and do. Be the person you want to be and do the things you want to do and do the things that need to be done. It's about not letting anyone write our future for us, but instead going out.
She's just making shit up. She's just making shit up. I've seen this so many times, and I always wondered about that. It never sat right with me when she started talking about this. First, because again, the holiday wasn't a thing, wasn't even created until 1966. Her family had no African American ties. Certainly, although they did get into the civil rights movement and whatever, but people weren't celebrating Kwanzaa in the 60s. Barely in the 70s, and that's pretty much only around Long Beach, California. She was in Montreal, Canada. There was no one in Montreal, Canada celebrating Kwanzaa. And there were no elders around. Her grandparents, multi-generations, your grandparents were in Jamaica and India. So how did you celebrate this across multiple generations? Just straight bullshit to me. All right, real quick. Thank you, Cryptic, dropping a $5 in the tip jar, who says, as a veteran of the War of Antarctica, I am offended with Tim Walz. Didn't want to go to battle against those nasty emperor penguins. Emperors! Cryptic, you are the best. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Appreciate you. And if you want to sponsor the show, you can do that at pdognight.live or just the links in the chat. All right, I'm going to move on because I need to get to a couple articles and I also want to get to the main topic. So let's just tell you other things trending real quick and get out of this segment. Nikki Haley's trending because she said Republicans shouldn't be surprised we're running against Kamala Harris. It's time to stop complaining and start calling out her liberal agenda. I don't disagree with that. We don't need an interview from her. We need to take her at her word. She says she wants to raise taxes. She said she thinks illegal immigrants should be able to vote and have driver's license. She said she wants to kill U.S. energy production. She said the Iran nuclear deal should be expanded. So don't disagree with Nikki Haley. That's why she's trending. Also, Royce White is trending. He is a former NBA basketball player for a brief time. And he has become the first black man to be a Senate candidate from the state of Minnesota. Now, the only reason I bring that up is because it's so funny. The media hasn't mentioned that he's the first black candidate from the state of Minnesota to run for the Senate. Now, they just, in fact, he put out where's this tweet that he put out? Because he took HuffPost to task. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Because here's how HuffPost, here's one. In a surprise, this is the Star Tribune. Thank you, Minnesota GOP with delegates for endorsing me as a candidate in the 2024 Minnesota United States Senate race. I'm at a loss for words. That takes a lot. People are coming. Hey, Star Trib, not a word on my campaign until I defied the odds. How long until the smears begin? They'll start right away. In a surprise, Minnesota Republicans back Royce White to run against Amy Klobuchar. Now, where is this HuffPost tweet? I gotta find it. Here it is. So here's the Huffington Post. Let me just show you the tweet. Just in, Royce White, a former NBA star and current devotee of ex-president Donald Trump, won the Minnesota Republican Party Senate primary on Tuesday. And then they posted an article that says, Republican who said women are too mouthy wins Minnesota Senate primary. Ex-NBA player Royce White has a history of incendiary remarks about women, Jewish people, and others, which, I mean, he does say some pretty spicy stuff. Former NBA player, current devotee of ex-president Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. White had secured an eyebrow-raising endorsement from the Minnesota GOP back in May, although he was certain to face formidable odds if he managed to challenge Democratic incumbent Senator Amy Klobuchar on November 5th. The basketball player, once hailed for progressive mental health activism, they added this because it wasn't in the original article, led Black Lives Matter protests in Minneapolis after the death of George Floyd, but more recently, White has made a name for himself with inflammatory comments about women, Jewish people, and the LGBTQ community, leaning into conspiracy theories popular in far-right corners of the internet. And then they talk about his relationship with Steve Bannon. He's been on Steve Bannon's show, and he's talked with Alex Jones, whatever. So now Roy's response to this was great, though, as far as I'm concerned. Mentioned that I am the first black candidate in Minnesota history to be nominated for the U.S. Senate by either major party, or you can remind people I blazed a trail for the mental health topic. Oh, wait, it wouldn't fit the MAGA extremist narrative. Now, would it? Fake news clowns. He minces no words whatsoever. But, normally they'd be saying, the first ever black candidate for the Senate. No. He doesn't get that because he's a Republican. Anyway. Good morning, Kevin S. What's up? All right. Oh, an amazing disgrace. I'm sorry, I didn't even. Her family celebrated Kwanzaa by listening to Tupac. Yes, that's exactly right. Congratulations. That's funny. So anyway, congratulations to Royce White, the Senate candidate from the state of Minnesota, to go against Amy Klobuchar. I don't think he has a chance of beating her just because, for whatever reason, people like her. I think she's a dolt, but whatever. Now, if he beats, oh my God, if he beats Amy Klobuchar, holy shit, that'd be wild. That'd be wild. By the way, he's very anti-Federal Reserve, which is great. I'm fine with that. Some people say, Royce White, a MAGA influencer pushed heavily by Matt Gaetz, won the Minnesota primary tonight. This is a massive gift to Kamala. What? Here's the mouthy content. Now, this is interesting. They say this is a gift to Kamala, and this is one of those sound bites that's going to be heard around the world shortly. Here it is.
Yeah. Well, look, let's just be frank. Women have become too mouthy. As the black man in the room, I'll say that. Yeah. Oh, wow.
That's interesting that they cut it off just at that, though. That's fascinating. So anyway, congratulations, Royce White. Now, in other Minnesota news, unfortunately, though, Ilhan Omar has also won her primary. She will still be the candidate. And to be frank, in the 5th district, she's a lock to win that race. Ilhan Omar, by the way, this is what Ilhan Omar said: Americans should be more fearful of white people because they cause most of the deaths in this country. Whatever. So anyway, here's Ilhan Omar and her short little victory. I won't say dance, but speech. Here's Ilhan Omar. The representative from Somalia, by the way.
This campaign has been one of the ugliest, most disgusting campaign against me that I have ever witnessed. We had an opponent that was willing to align with literal Nazis.
Okay. First of all, the man who ran against her for this Democrat nomination for Congress is a Democrat black city council, former city council member in the city of Minneapolis. And she's claiming that he aligned himself with literal Nazis. Like literal? Like were they wearing SS uniforms and Nazi armbands, Nazis? Like when you say literal Nazis, like the American Nazi Party, who are these literal Nazis he aligned himself with? You got to be now. Look, in Minneapolis and especially the 5th District, to her, a literal Nazi is probably someone who supports, I don't know, Mayor Jacob Fry or something. You know, who's also a Democrat, by the way. That's literal Nazis. What else is you'd say here?
In order to defeat us. We had an opponent that weaponized and scandalized.
All right, Ilhan Omar speaking to her.
Anyway, she won. So she'll be in Congress because there's no way she'll lose to a Republican in that district. These are 90% Democrats and almost 50% Somalians. So, well, not 50%. There's actually it's near north suburbs and what else? Anyway, she'll win the district. It's like 80 to 90% Democrat, that district. So she will win. She has the microphone. Same thing happens here in the UK. Yeah, definitely. Good morning, number one, by the way. So she won. And then finally, Somalia is trending basically because Ilhan Omar won. While most of Ilhan Omar's campaign funding comes from sources outside her district, Minnesotans don't allow outside influencers to dictate the direction of your state. Well, they already did. So Samuel's lost. Let's see. Okay, I don't care. We'll move on. Finally, last trending topic is Nord Stream. And apparently, someone says, I guess this is the Russia, it's something called Russia's Not the Enemy. The explosion of Nord Stream pipelines is an act of international terrorism. To answer the questions who did it, it is necessary to say who was interested in it. The interested party is, of course, the American suppliers of energy to Europe. Americans wanted to do it for a long time, and they did it, and it doesn't matter by whose hands, said President Putin. That's Putin's talking, right? And there's a discussion of the effect of Nord Stream. Here's, this is Tucker Carlson talking to Jeffrey Sachs. Who blew up Nord Stream? The U.S. blew up Nord Stream, said Jeffrey Sachs. How does he know? They said they'd do it. They said they would, and they did it. In February 2022, Joe Biden stated to the press that if Russia invaded Ukraine, Nord Stream would be finished. Several U.S. officials, including Victoria Nuland, made statements that Nord Stream would be stopped or destroyed. There were readings of U.S. planes in the vicinity of the explosion. Radoslaw Sikorski, the former and now current Polish foreign minister, said in a tweet, "Thank you, USA," along with a picture of the gas leak from Nord Stream pipeline. So that's part of a Tucker Carlson interview. It seems as though it would be obvious that we did it, although now here's Joe Biden.
There will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
Wow.
How would you
that was pretty ominous.
That? Exactly. Since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control.
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do that.
Wow. That sounds like we did it, doesn't it? So anyway, people are talking about that again for some reason, apparently because that was Putin. Putin had an interview about that. So that's, you have to tell me whether that's good or bad. Of course, if you take out, again, a major pipeline from Russia and make it more difficult to supply energy to Europe, which is what the Europeans are starting to complain about. That also helps drives inflation, because when energy costs do not happen in a vacuum. It's not like we have a certain energy cost for producing something in the United States versus Saudi Arabia versus Russia. If you lower the worldwide supply, then the demand doesn't change, and you get more. The prices go up. So between shutting down Keystone, between blowing up Nord Stream, Joe Biden has had a very detrimental effect on inflation. Now, that caused it to spike. So there you go. All right, let's get into a couple articles, particularly the ones that Gunfox gave me, and then the main article that I was going to talk about today, and then I'll just give you the rest in the chat. So here's one from Gunfox61. Thank you, Gunfox, for providing us with this fresh hell. This is an opinion piece from MSNBC. This time is money, and Joe Biden trying to help Americans waste less of both. Okay. The Biden-Harris administration newest initiative showed that there's plenty that the federal government can do to improve people's lives. You know what they can do to improve my life? Stop intruding on my life. I don't need your help to improve my life. Just let us do our own shit and be okay. The first half of President Joe Biden's term, now wait a minute, was focused on doing big things. His initial plans out of the gate compiled in the Build Back Better agenda were sweeping and transformative. The legislation that was spun out of that package, including the Inflation Reduction Act, the massive infrastructure bill. Oh, by the way, that Inflation Reduction Act was just a Green New Deal. The massive infrastructure bill and the Chips and Science Act, which that one probably was a good one, maybe, were major investments in the country's future. Now, though, as we approach the final few months of what will be his single term, Biden is going smaller. At first glance, the Time is Money initiative that Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris announced Monday could be seen as relatively insignificant. But in this case, smaller does not mean less important or impactful. In fact, in setting the White House's sights on the ways corporations sap Americans' time and money, because if the government doesn't, Biden is making an argument that there's plenty the federal government can do to improve the way we live. The new effort from the Biden-Harris administration is focused on the corporate practice of giving people the runaround, wasting their precious time and money, according to the White House fact sheet. In particular, the aim is tackling the seemingly minor inconveniences that add up to major hassle at the expense of the consumers. Yes, this is what the federal government should be focused on. Gunfox, why did you send this to me? Quote. Who's this quote from? Is this Biden saying this? Americans know these practices well. It's being forced to wait to hold just to get the refund we're owed. The hoops and hurdles to cancel a gym membership or subscription. The unnecessary complications of dealing with health insurance companies. The requirements to do in-person or by mail what could easily be done with a couple of clicks online. What year is he living in? And confusing and lengthy manipulative forms that take unnecessary time and effort. These hassles just don't happen by accident. Companies often deliberately design their business processes to be time-consuming or otherwise burdensome for consumers in order to deter them from getting a rebate or refund they are due, or canceling a subscription or membership they no longer want, all with the goal of maximizing profits. Now, I am very fucking confused right now. My experience does not match this. Lately, it's been easier to cancel things. It's been easier to get refunds for shit, especially if you like Amazon. It's simple to get a refund. You click a couple clicks, and you don't even have to mail it. You can drop it off at a Kohl's or, whatever. You can drop it off someplace near you, and you don't even have to wrap it up anymore. It's easy. Now, maybe they're saying this is other corporations. I don't know. Let me continue here. Accordingly, the Biden administration is pulling what levers it can to combat this scourge. Like, I don't know what scourge you're talking about. Especially since COVID, when everyone had to stay home, a lot of companies made it a lot easier to do this kind of stuff. What the F is this about? I mean, maybe it's because he's having a hard time returning his Betamax. I don't know. Given how long it generally takes for a proposed federal rule to go from concept to policy, many of the changes listed won't be felt until after the election. By the same token, though, it's important that the process to get these rules in place begins sooner rather than later. So are you proposing a bill in Congress to make something a law? Or are you just going to say, oh, this is an executive order? What does this mean? Gunfox, what is this? The only finalized policy among those listed as part of the Time is Money initiative is the Transportation Department's much lauded and promoted rule that requires airlines to provide automatic refunds for canceled flights. Yeah, that'd be good. But that's great. Make a law. Next, furthest along are the Federal Trade Commission's proposed rules that will require companies make it as easy to cancel a subscription as it is to sign up for one. I've had no problems with canceling subscriptions for things lately. I've made some changes to my Comcast when I dumped the cable and the home security. Quick phone call, click, and it was done. And even after they tried to sell me more shit, no big deal. Okay, maybe I'm just a boomer with a Gen Z. Let me think here. Gen Z? Who's it? Maybe I'm just a boomer who handles technology fine. I don't know. What is he talking about? The FTC is reviewing public comments on that proposed rule. And why is this the federal government's business? If you have a place that has great customer service that can handle these things, you stay with those places, or you say, fuck you, I'll go somewhere else. That's the best rule. Another proposed rule from the FTC would stop marketers from using illicit review and endorsement practices, such as using fake reviews, suppressing honest negative reviews, and paying for positive reviews, which would make online shopping much easier after years of decline. Again, holy shit. Meanwhile, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has two rules in the works. One would cut back on the doom loops that force callers to listen to long messages before they reach an actual human being. I understand that's frustrating, but why are they doing this? The other would limit how banks and other corporations use chatbots and artificial intelligence voice recordings to give users the runaround. The remaining policies listed are hit 0 and talk to a person. That's all you got to do. If it's really getting annoying, that's all I do. I hit 0 until I get a person. The remaining policies listed are more requests than rules. Then what's the point? Oh, we're going to request this. That's not a rule. We're not going to write a law. We're just going to gently suggest it. Including a call from the Department of Health and Human Services to have health insurance providers make the process to submit claims far less cumbersome. I go to my doctor and I hand him an insurance card. What are you talking about? This is exactly the kind of executive action that you'd expect from a president looking to get things done while Congress is deep in campaign season. Well, how do you get it done? Oh, you're going to tell your agencies to make new rules that companies have to abide by? Didn't we just have a little thing in the Supreme Court about Chevron? Without the ability to pass major new legislation, the executive branch must get creative with its power to get anything new done. These time wasters are also literally rich target for Biden politically, as you be hard-pressed to find someone who hasn't had gripes about them. But again, what is the point? Are you just trying to cement your legacy? It's funny because one of the Krasensteins this morning tweeted something about how, Biden just made an announcement that they're going to give $150 million in grants for cancer research, right? So they said, oh, this is that moonshot for cancer. Why isn't any MAGA people praising Joe Biden for announcing $150 million in grants for cancer research? That's the moonshot, right? Until I looked up the fact that just one agency, the National Cancer Institute, has between a $5 and $7 billion budget. And so Biden announcing $150 million in grants for certain types of cancer research, when one agency that studies cancer has a $5 to $7 billion budget, $150 million doesn't sound like a moonshot to me. And I'm just like, he's doing things in the last year of his presidency that he talked about when he ran for the presidency, and he's waited till 3.5 years or more to try to implement some stuff. It's kind of like the immigration bill they came up with a couple months ago. Oh, this immigration problem that you exacerbated exponentially in the first 2 years of your office, and that you didn't do shit about in the third year of your office either. Now, finally, in the fourth year in office, when election season is coming around, oh, now we're going to have a bipartisan bill on immigration. What happened in the first 3 years? And you mean the bipartisan bill that just makes it easier to process more illegal border crosses faster? Is that the bill you're talking about? The one that makes it easier because they're only going to allow 2,500 a week in? And so the cartels know now to kind of mitigate the flow so they don't get too many, so they don't shut it down. You mean the bill? Oh, and then they said, oh, well, Vice President Kamala Harris supported the most tough bill on immigration in decades. Oh, really? Did you forget about H.R. 2, the Republican immigration bill that happened in 2023? A full year before this one you did in the last year in office, when you hadn't been doing anything about immigration for 3 fucking years? Oh no! One of the biggest issues is immigration. Let's get a bipartisan immigration bill. One fucking rhino Republican writes it in the Senate. Got no support in the House whatsoever. Oh, that's pretty bipartisan. What about H.R. 2 from last year? That was the toughest immigration bill. The Senate never even took it up. Anyway, all right. Next article from Gunfox. Here we go. Another opinion piece from the MSNBC. Olympians give their all for the U.S. Olympians giving their all for the U.S. should get more in return. The Olympics highlighted many issues we can't just ignore through gold-colored glasses. Okay, what's this about? The Olympics have come to an end after what feels like an exceptionally triumphant 2 weeks. The Paris 2024 is being hailed by some as the best Olympics we have ever seen in terms of production, ratings, and overall quality of competition. What? No, the production was weird. The fucking open and closing ceremonies were weird, but it was a great Olympics in the fact that many more countries are beginning to find parity in some of these sports, and you're seeing a lot more medals for many different countries, which is, as much as I love having the Americans win the vast majority of medals, it's kind of cool to see other countries do some cool stuff too. It certainly triumphed for the United States, which finishes the games atop the leaderboard in overall medals and tied with China for first in golds. Between Team USA basketball, the U.S. women's national team soccer, Simone Biles, Katie Ledecky, track and field, these Olympics were a showcase of excellence at a time, and at times redemption for the Americans. At a time of great division, for 2 weeks at least, we were all patriots. Yeah, not so much. But the Olympics have always presented a profound dilemma to me as someone who has covered sport through a critical lens. Oh no. Critical race theory of sports. Is that what this is? It's covered sports through a critical lens for more than a decade. Shameless plug. There's an entire chapter in my book about this very dilemma. I absolutely adore the Olympics, enjoy the spectacle, most of all, the all too rare showcasing of women's sports. Because a lot of women's sports are boring. But historically, they've been a hotbed for corruption and bribery, cost overruns, doping scandals, environmental havoc, militarized policing, population displacement, and sports washing when major sporting events serve to distract from a country's very real problems. Whether it's political turmoil, human rights abuses, or the struggles of everyday people to pay for housing or health care. It's not, oh my God. It's not that the Olympics are supposed to be a haven from that stuff. What are you talking about? Hello, No Toes in the house. What up, P-Dog? Bless to you in the chat. I hate to be a pessimist, but we're on a countdown to a nuclear apocalypse. It's unstoppable at this point. Fuck the Olympics. It's a big distraction. Well, yes, it is. And that's why but the Olympics are supposed to be a distraction, and they're done. So, but still, this is interesting. It's that last part I find myself thinking about now that the games are over as we all return to reality of the challenges we face at home. The Olympics highlighted many issues we can't just ignore through gold-colored glasses. The USA water polo team was among the feel-good stories of the competition, with Flavor Flav becoming its #1 hype man, lending its star power and its dollars to the women's his star power and dollars to the women's team in particular. But let's not lose sight of why he felt he had to get involved in the first place. It was in response to Maggie Steffens' Instagram post calling for increased financial support. Steffens noted that most athletes work second and third jobs to fund their journeys to the Olympics. Okay, maybe the U.S. Olympic Committee should raise more money so they can help these athletes more. But what is that? For 2 weeks, every 4 years, we exalt these athletes as the best examples of American excellence. We proudly uphold them as star-spangled avatars for all of us. We point out every medal as evidence that we are indeed the greatest country in the world. But once the Olympics are over, we largely leave these athletes to fend for themselves, implying that the glory and privilege of representing our nation should be done. Well, I don't understand. What are you asking? So should we give them year-round salaries? Who's going to pay for that? And what is she asking for here? That dynamic was especially stark in the case of discus thrower Veronica Fraley, who posted on social media that she was struggling to pay her rent the day before she was set to compete. Reddit co-founder Alex Ohanen saw the post and sent her money, and her GoFundMe page raised more than her 20,000 goal since the story went viral. Okay, that's great. That's great. Someone helped it out. It was a lovely gesture, but athletes shouldn't have to rely on the benevolence of wealthy celebrity fans or crowdsourcing just to make ends meet. Especially not when the institutions they play for are benefiting so much from their achievements. I've never heard of Veronica Fraley. Who's benefiting from her achievements? She chose to compete in a sport that doesn't make money. Some people helped her out. Good God. What are you asking? It's indicative of a broader trend we're seeing with everyday American story abound, detailing people with catastrophic medical conditions in dire financial straits who are only able to survive due to the kindness of strangers. Some medical professionals actively recommend crowdsourcing as a way to pay for medical bills, to the point where The Atlantic declared GoFundMe a healthcare utility. The heartwarming headlines from the Olympics and the generosity of people like Flavor Flav, Ohanian, and others and smaller GoFundMe donors are billed as feel-good stories, but they also serve to placate us into accepting the current state of things. But if anything, these Olympics demonstrated firsthand that it doesn't have to be that way. USA rugby player Ariana Ramsey went viral for using her time in Paris to take advantage of the free healthcare provided in the Olympic Village. Ramsey was astounded to walk into the clinic and receive basic preventative care like pap smears and teeth cleaning at no cost. I haven't had an eye exam in a really long time, Ramsey told the Washington Post, so I was like, why not get one if it's going to be completely free? I don't have to worry about trying to find a primary care practitioner who takes my insurance. All the medals in the world can't obscure the fact that the United States is the only high-income country without universal health care. So we come down from the Olympic high and continue to celebrate our beloved athletes. I would run it through a brick wall for Jordan Childs. let's stop and think about the things that truly make a country great. Access to healthcare, education, voting, personal safety, freedom to love. She had to throw that in there. But the pillars of democracy, they're worth their weight in gold. Okay, so she wants universal healthcare. That's great. Okay, that's her argument? It's not allowed for the government to pay the athletes. No, it is now. They get, especially for medals, whatever, and they're no longer amateur by definition. Believe me, they get paid now. They get paid for their training. Some do, some don't, just depending on what their sport is. It's no longer amateur athletes. They allow professional athletes all over the Olympics now. That's why the especially in basketball, it's all NBA and WNBA players and professional players from all over the world playing, because the rest of the world wanted their professional players to be able to play in the Olympics, because they were always getting beat by the United States. So when they said, okay, we're going to allow professional athletes in the Olympics, that's where you got the dream team from. Anyway, okay, that's an argument for universal health care. Okay, fine. All right, let's finish with what the main topic of the article or of the stream today. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get to anything else. But this was the greatest, might have been one of the best jokes I've heard on a evening talk show in years. I mean, this was amazing. This is the best writing ever, except nobody wrote the joke. So apparently Caitlin what's her name? Caitlin Collins? Yes, Caitlin Collins from This Is CNN was on Stephen Colbert, and they were talking about the campaign, Harris, Trump, whatever. And Stephen Colbert told the best joke that even his audience thought was great. Let's just listen to the joke. I'll probably get demonetized for this, for whatever. But here's the joke that Stephen Colbert told.
Trump has kind of been thrown on his...
You got to hear the whole thing. Here's the clip that everyone's passing around.
...feels by this, and he's not really sure how to go after Vice President Harris. He knew his attack lines on President Biden. He really has struggled with how to go after someone who's 20 years younger than him, who is a different gender, a different race. It's kind of been this moment where he has not been able to coalesce around a single attack line.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is. Oh, I know. CNN makes it. That's supposed to be a line. I wasn't supposed to be, but.
Did you hear what she said after that, too? Listen to it, because they all laughed at that, and she had to ask the question.
I know, CNN makes it. I know.
Is that supposed to be a laugh line?
I wasn't supposed to be, but I guess it is.
So anyway, his audience, remember, his audience is Stephen Colbert fans. They're left-wing, mostly liberals, and they even thought that was funny, that CNN is supposed to be objective. So anyway, the article in Hollywood and Toto, CBS host Stephen Colbert peddled two major deceptions over the past half dozen years. The Russian collusion story was true, and President Joe Biden is of sound mind. That's just a sample of what passes for objectivity at the far left showcase. It's a bit like This Is CNN. That news network are relentlessly liberal, attacking GOP figures like former President Donald Trump and pulling punches whenever a Democrat appears on the channel. The bias is off the charts. And for one glorious moment, both Colbert and a CNN star realized even their far-left audiences know the scam. CNN anchor Caitlin Collins appeared on Monday's Late Show, eager to talk up Vice President Kamala Harris. Oh, by the way, there's another part of this. As you watch that clip, did you notice, and it's funny because the joy seems to be a theme in the Kamala Harris campaign, but do you ever notice when you watch like her speaking there and other anchors talk about Kamala Harris, how much joy they have? Like they're just smiling and they're beaming, talking about Kamala Harris, and they're just so hopeful and joyful that it's no longer the decrepit one, Joe Biden. They're so happy that he's gone, and this is the candidate they wanted in 2016, and they are so happy to talk about her. It's crazy. Why does Caitlyn look like a teenage Italian boy? I don't know. But anyway, it's so funny. It's so funny that the audience just laughed at that. But they're so happy that it's Kamala Harris. I'm going to leave that. There's the article. The links are there. I got multiple articles today, but I don't have really time to do it. We'll just literally do headlines today. Legal insurrection. Media taglines were written before Musk and Trump uttered a single word. Some of these people had their stories written about the Musk Trump interview or conversation, whatever. And so they were ready to attack it. In human events, this one's gone. We'll close it. In Daily Caller, European government berates top official for sending threatening letter to Elon Musk ahead of the Trump interview. Apparently, that official, what's his name? Thierry Breton, apparently made that little nasty letter to Elon Musk threatening him about the Trump interview. Was a little bit out of pocket. He was not supposed to do that. And so... So anyway, some of the EU commissioners are having a little problem with him. And I don't believe it. I bet they knew he did it, but they got enough backlash that now they have to pretend they didn't want that to happen. In the Federalist, the press won't discuss the real campaign issues because they don't want Trump to win. This is the thing I'm saying over and over and over, okay? We cannot talk about bullshit during this campaign. We have to talk about what Kamala Harris is really about, and we must make her what is it? Something has been. I forgot my favorite line. But yeah, we got to make her let's see, what's her line? Something about what has been. The press is hoping you won't notice that they're covering for Kamala Harris by not covering her record on real issues such as inflation, immigration, education, crime, tax, and so on. We need to make her responsible for the history of her campaign and the history of her political career, and not let them just talk about bullshit like Tim Walz's, military record or, whether or not she's black, whatever. That's the stuff they want you stuck on because they don't want to talk about her record. Breitbart, Pennsylvania, to Kamala Harris, we don't trust you on fracking. They don't like the fact that she is, that her record on fracking is she wants done, and now she's supposedly flip-flopping on it. Pennsylvania is a big fracking state. North Dakota is a big fracking state, and it's the oil industries in those states are very important to their state's economy. Free Beacon, Biden-Harris administration says it replenished America's depleted oil reserves, but the supplies actually remain at record lows. They're only at 40%, I believe. There's another article on that in Legal Insurrection, and it's not showing up. All right, well, forget that. Also in Legal Insurrection, apparently Sun Power, a rooftop company, declares bankruptcy. Another one of this is another one of those probably Solyndra stories where there's a big investment from the government in these solar power companies. Well, this one's going bankrupt. How do you do that when you get shit tons of government money? Who knows? What is this? Daily Caller, for whatever reason that's not showing up. Apparently, America's top hackers discovered vulnerabilities in voting machines, and now it may be too late. The hackers at the annual DEF CON conference convened in Las Vegas this past weekend to identify vulnerabilities in voting machines for the 2024 elections, and they found them, but they can't fix it before the 2024 election. So no matter who loses can say, oh, those voting machines didn't work, except for Virginia, where they're doing paper ballots. Kudos to the state of Virginia. Breitbart. Someone says, I'm calling bullshit. Anti-election integrity Kamala Harris blasted for requiring IDs to enter her rally. What? You have to have a photo ID to go to a Kamala Harris rally? But, well, then there won't be any black people there. What the hell? It's all fake. Crazy Kamala's rally in Arizona tonight is invitation only. Why wouldn't they want their event open to the public? Well, because you might get people who fake it and walk out during her speech. In the New York Post, Kamala Harris campaign team is editing news headlines in her favor without outlets' knowledge. They've been, that's a big thing. You'll find that on Twitter. You got to read that one. And then I have about 7 more, but I can only tell you one more, which would be this one from Breitbart. Exclusive: Donald Trump says Kamala Harris will not sit with any real journalists because she'll only take softball Democrat interviews. Well, that's not a shocker. So anyway, there's several other articles, but I don't have time. Guys, thanks for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. I'm back tomorrow at the same time, same channel. Please hit the like button, share the stream, and all that other stuff. Thank you for those who made it here. And our lone sponsors of the day, that would be Gunfox61 and Cryptic. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you all. Gunfox, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. All right, I got to go. Thanks. My name's Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thanks for watching today on the Dawg Knight Channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.